Earlier flip of the coin. Was it Scott that begins? Right, okay. Scott, you have 5 minutes.
Hello, my name is Scott Baker. I am running for Congressional District 8 in Texas here, as most of you know. I'd like to welcome you all here. I really appreciate the CCMC for putting this on and Paul Gabolis for hosting it for us, moderating it, and I'd also like to thank Tyler for showing up out tonight for this debate. I think it's going to be a lot of fun and a lot of excitement. You know, for 13 years, Kevin Brady, our incumbent, has been in office, and in that time we've gone from balanced budgets to trillion-dollar deficits. He has not shown effective leadership, and I wish he could have been here tonight so we could have a debate with him, but he declined, unfortunately. But over those 13 years, you know, the Republican Party is the party of smaller government, lower taxes, and traditional family values. And over those 13 years, we have not seen that agenda pushed or move forward at all. In fact, we've seen it take a few steps backwards, which is very unfortunate, I think. The administration right now, the current administration, is pushing rapidly and trying to lead the country in a direction that most of us don't want to go, frankly. And the Republican Party, the Republicans in Congress right now, have done nothing to stop that, or at least very little. They have not been effective at all. I think we need effective leadership in Washington, and I believe that I provide that. You know, one of the things that really disturbs me is when President Obama just recently made a speech and said that we are not a Christian nation. We are a Christian nation. Our history, our culture, our foundation, our founding documents are all filled with Christian principles and values. We can't forget that. We can't deny it. Winston Churchill once made the statement that those who fail to learn the lessons of history are doomed to repeat them. I believe he's exactly right. And for anybody to try and deny our heritage or our culture, there is no mandate for anybody to be a Christian in this country. There's nobody's going to force anybody. But for anybody to try and deny it is an absolute mistake. We must learn the lessons of the past. And one of the reasons that's important is because of all the problems we face. All of the problems we face, and one of the things that I bring to the table is I'm very solutions-based, solutions-oriented. I want to fix things. I don't just want to talk about them. I want to fix them, actually apply the lessons of the past to the future. That is how we move forward. We learn all the lessons, all the problems that we have, the economy, the war in Afghanistan and Iraq, everything that we face as a nation. All we have to do is look at the past. We've faced similar problems before. All we have to do is take the lessons that we learned from those, learn what not to do and what to do, and apply those to the future. Build on those. We don't need a new system of government. We don't need a social democracy or a socialist agenda. We have the best system of government in the world. And it's because of the American people. Now, I stand for solutions like we have to cut the size of the federal government. We know that it's too big. It cannot move right now because of the size of it. It is entirely too large. There is no accountability. That is what happens with any large structure or organization. We have to pay down the debt. We are crushed under debt. We have to cut spending, cut taxes, excuse me, and we have to unleash the power of the American people. Over and over again, when we do that, we succeed and we excel. We don't just make it across the line, we push it 10 times further down. We set the new bar for the world. We have to fix healthcare. How do we do that? The solutions are on the table. We know what has to be done. In 2003, Texas instituted lawsuit abuse reform that has greatly fixed our healthcare system. It has stopped the rise of costs, and it is beginning to even bring them down some. We have to open interstate commerce, and we have to stop the fraud and abuse. We have to stop the corruption in our government. We know there's corruption. We know there's people that are using their money to influence policy in this country. And we have to stop rewarding the inept. We have to stop the bailouts. And we have to stop dumping money into companies that have failed. We must have a comprehensive energy policy, and that means using our domestic resources wisely and appropriately. And I'm out of time. I have plenty more, and I hope we'll have more in the evening here. But Tyler, it's up to you. Thank you very much for being here.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Tyler Russell, and I'm going to be your next congressman in District 8. Recently, I started talking to people, and the more I talk to people, the more I realize how upset everybody is with the way things are. We're tired of the status quo. We're tired of poor leadership in Washington. We're tired of the spending. We're tired of people going and being an empty suit in Congress. I'm here to tell you tonight that I won't be your empty suit when I get to Capitol Hill. I'm going to come in, guns blazing. I'm going to draw lines in the sand. I'm going to say, you know what? I'm a conservative. And you know what? If you're not on my side, then you're against me, and I'm going to take every minute of my time while I'm there to make sure that you understand why my positions are the way they are, why they're constitutionally sound, and why that they should be coming to my side of the debate. The Congress is out of control. The Congress has forgotten what the Constitution is and what it means to our country. For too long, people have been neglecting the words of our founding fathers. For too long, people are saying, well, you know, this Congress doesn't have to follow the 18 guidelines and the 18 enumerated powers that were given to them in Article 1 of the Constitution. For too long, they've been neglecting our Bill of Rights. And it is time for Americans to wake up and say, we're tired of the status quo and we're tired of the incumbents, and it's time for you to leave. I am trying to run for Congress so that I can restore the Constitution. I'm trying to restore life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, real property as the background and the fundamental foundation of where I'm trying to go. I want to restore honor and integrity to Congress. I don't know how many of you might have seen it, but in the last 2 or 3 years, there's been several polls. I'm sure you've seen it as well, Scott, that people honor airline pilots more than they honor our congressmen. They honor the President of the United States more than they honor our congressmen. Congress has a 9% approval rating, and 95% of them statistically will come back next term. It's time for that to change. And it's time for real leaders to be put into Capitol Hill so that we can change the mindset of America, so that people will understand that there are real people there fighting for what is right and fighting for godly issues and fighting for the words of our founding fathers. I was reading an article just the other day, and it made me think I need to see how much money is it that my government has spent. How much money are we in debt? Today, to the penny, the federal government owes $12.1 trillion to the American people first, and secondly to other countries. And it's just absolutely insane that we are running $1.2 trillion to $1.5 trillion deficits every year, and Congress doesn't really care to do anything about it. In fact, what their solution is to spend a little more money. That won't be my solution when I get to Congress. I'm going to step up and say, you know what, no more spending. You know, we've spent plenty of money the last 50 years. It's time to end it. Now, there are important issues like health care reform. There are important issues like pro-life, for example. There are other important issues that must be addressed as well, that need to be addressed immediately. But the most important thing is keeping our sovereignty here in this country. Right now, we have $106 trillion of unfunded liability that will be Scott's children and my children's debt to pay. That's immoral and it's wrong. Our founding fathers warned against it, and we need to get back to their principles, which was small government and paying off debts as fast as possible through tariffs and not through income taxes and taxing corporations. 58% of America thinks that we're going in the wrong direction. The problem is on both sides of the aisle. It's not the problem of the Democrats. It's not the problem of our president. It's not the problem of the Republican Party or the Republican leadership. The party is everywhere. The problem is corruption. We must end the corruption that is governing our country. Why can't Congress pass some legislation that actually makes sense? Why can't we get some intelligent people there that come up with common sense solutions that everyone else in America seems to understand immediately? It's time now for fiscal reform. It's time now for strong national defense. It's time now for justice. It's time now for us to have a real representative in the 8th District of Texas. And I hope tonight I will earn your vote to be that congressman. Thank you.